How to Militec your firearm. This is the substance in question. Miltec1 synthetic metal conditioner. You're not gonna need the gallon to do that. I'm using this for multiple purposes. That's why I have this much. 1 ounce probably will run you for many years, depending on how much stuff you have to lubricate. So the first thing what you need to do, get yourself a syringe. This is the Miltec1, that's the color of it. When the firearm is taken apart, you need to focus on putting Miltec on every single frictional point within that firearm. So in this case, all those grooves here in the frame where slide goes in, you apply Miltec in there. You put things together and make sure it's all spread. I already did this before starting, so you may see this is all kind of greased up. You put tiny bit, you spread this with your finger or with the brush. Same thing applies to the barrel. And what you would like to do, which is a very important step, you need to raise the temperature of metal parts up to 177 Fahrenheit, optimum 80 Celsius for this substance to work. When you do that, metal pores are opening. This is not like any average greasy lubricant, you know. That stuff actually reacts with the steel, with metals. This is synthetic hydrocarbon, which is on molecular level compatible with metals. Another way you can say it, you have a same DNA as a metal do. So it will be absorbed by the steel the same way as oil or any liquid is being absorbed, for example, by wood. And those spots here, these are places where I spilled Miltec, and they actually those points are wood is impregnated. It will not take stain, no water, nothing else will go in because it was absorbed into. Now Miltec does the same thing. It doesn't create any kind of coating like a varnish, like a Teflon, for example. It will not change the tolerances with the running operating mechanisms. It doesn't change the dimensions of the pieces that you apply this to. What it does, it changes the surface of metals on microscopic level. It doesn't make it harder, it makes it much stiffer, 17 times stiffer surface comparing to any metal surface that wasn't treated with Miltec. That you can use any oil, you know, it will not do that same thing because it will just create a film on the surface, and the point of it is to make sure that you have always a little bit coverage between metal parts, as that oil film separates them from creating too much friction and actually seizing up the mechanism or jamming them. So this is the principle. Important part of it is also motion, friction. When you have those increased temperature between those parts, you have to expose them to normal friction that is happening between those moving parts when they're in normal operations. So you can go to, this is 150, 160 Fahrenheit almost. That's satisfying. Make sure you have some gloves, because at this temperature you don't really want to touch this. It's too much. So what you can do also, which is very helpful, you may want to run patch through your barrel. Patch or mop In my case, I like to round them up on a drill. Where's the drill? I can't find it at the moment. Oh, it's right here. So this is pre-soaked with Miltec. I just drive it through. This is very hot right now. This just provides a little bit of that friction, nothing comparable with where bullets go when bullets are going through the barrel. But it's actually better than not doing it. Now boost the temperature a little bit more. Those parts are cooling. But let's assume the ideal temperature is 177 Fahrenheit, if you can get to it. Otherwise, you can just lubricate every surface within your firearm, go to the shooting range, and make sure you shoot enough rounds for that firearm to get to normal operational temperature. Because then this is when the magic happens, when actually Miltec begins to work. Rock the slide. So when you put this together, rock the slide. Rock the slide for as long as you possibly can. You know, it's gonna make you tired at some point. So that's why I say the best thing is to go to the range to do that in a natural way. Now, afterwards, when you do this, when this is all done, take a rag and wipe everything absolutely dry. Total, you don't want anything in there. Everything have to be totally dry. Like even if you soak it with rinse it with naphtha, which is a great solvent, leaves no residue. Make sure you have absolutely nothing there. I'm skipping here a step which will be very helpful because this gun was already treated. So what you do, you of course set this aside, you let it be, allow it to cool off for as long as it takes to get to normal temperature, room temperature, before you do what I'm doing right now. So I'm just doing a shortcut here. So wipe it to the point that when you run the clean white patch through this, it will not leave a mark. You don't want to see any liquid residue, remnants of Miltec on it. And the reason for this is it is dry impregnated lubrication. That's how the company presents that. So because that's for real what it is. Those metal surfaces right now are affected by Miltec just like this surface of a plywood. The stuff is already in, the surface has been changed. This is 17 times stiffer on the surface than prior to treatment. Forget about CLP or anything else that you can find, whatever, pay $100 a gallon, an ounce. If you want, knock yourself out. You're not going to get the same results. This is military proven in battlefield, in Iraq, in Afghanistan. It's proven to work really excellent every time, no failure. Now you have your firearm lubricated. The mechanism is dry, grease-free. There is absolutely nothing that will attract the dust and cause it to jam. This is what you want. Greasy lubricants. In case of war in Iraq, there was even an investigation going to Pentagon. Why rifles are jamming, why American soldiers are not capable fight back, because their guns, their M16s are jammed. The reason for this was they've been using a CLP that was never battle proven in desert environment. If you use greasy treatment for this kind of mechanism, right? You see this shine here? I don't have AR, but it have a lot of moving precise parts. If dust goes there, grease attracts the dust like a magnet. Here you have surface that is completely dry. It will not attract the dust and your firearm will not jam, and is guaranteed for at the very least 1,000 rounds to be perfectly protected for operation. Just like that, dry. Now, in the next step I will be showing you how this actually works. You may ask, how is that possible that there is no oil on the surface, any kind of protective coating, and the surface is still protected, right? That's unheard of. Nobody drives a car engine without the oil in an oil pan. And if you don't have a lubricant within the mechanism, you're screwed, right? Yes, that's partially true to the degree, to some degree. Here is a very simple piece of equipment that allows me to test the strength of oil. Right here is a ball bearing ball that I actually previously damaged, if you can see here, by doing one of my tests. So I'm spinning it right now. So that surface is not being used anymore. And I want you to see this, what I'm doing on purpose, so nobody can question that this is some kind of gimmick, okay? Now, next step. This is steel, hard steel roller, right? We can even run this with some sandpaper if we want to, but not necessarily. We could polish. This is 600 grade. Kind of not absolutely necessary, but you can do that. This little dish simulates the oil pan, so I'm gonna put the oil here. This is Castrol 10W30 advanced full synthetic motor oil, right? Any oil will go, but this is just for the purpose of that test. Here is torque wrench. Please observe the display. So you can see when this will stop. Also, you can watch the amp meter. I will apply small pressure to begin with. This is like 6 pounds. I may add some extra heat to simulate situation in a car engine, for example, because oil doesn't work cold in the motor, right? 120, 100, something like that. The temperature is kind of depending what place I hit. The warmest spot is showing 120 Fahrenheit right now. So we will have here it's seized at 30 pounds. Okay, so final results right here, second try, 57 pounds was the breaking point of that oil. So we have a ball bearing ball, steel roller, and full synthetic oil right here. And this is the damage. Same as before. This is the damage. That ball right now is right here shaved off, because there was no more barrier, no more oil coating between those two metal surfaces. So I will spin the ball again, and install it with unworn surface facing the roller. Additionally, I'm not changing the oil. The same oil that was there is still there, but now is contaminated with metal shavings from the last test. The temperature of everything right now is 103, 106 Fahrenheit. I'm gonna boost it in a moment. I'm gonna increase that temperature, but the next step is I will be adding some Miltec to the equation. Not that much. Everybody's watching what's going on. Now I'm going to allow friction and temperature to work. Just friction and temperature. Just like on the firearm. You create some friction during the operations of the firearm, because you want to make sure that the firearm works at normal operating temperature, and also friction between parts, like in normal life, is happening, right? So here the same thing. Fahrenheit right now. So I'm just pushing with bare hand. And I'm gonna run this for like a minute. You would like to make sure, which is very important, that you allow Miltec to be absorbed, and increased temperature opens up the pores in steel. 130 almost 100, yeah, 130 Fahrenheit. That's the current temperature, 55 Celsius. Oh yeah, it's over a minute right now. Watch the display. Ten, 11, 15, 20 over pounds, 30. I'm giving it a little break because I want to make sure in a normal life situation you're not gonna lose the lubricant right away. So right now I'm pushing 40 pounds. 50. Remember, at 50 we've been game over before. 62, 64. 70 pounds. 80 pounds. It's actually becoming difficult. 83, 87, 90 pounds, 99, 100, 105, 107, 109, 111. I just exceeded the reading capabilities of that meter right now. So you can see what's going on here, right? Let's reset that. This is sick. I'm gonna reset that. Okay, it's supposed to cut off at over 140 pounds right now. $70, $80, $90, $105. I had to brace myself. 120. You guys watching this, right? I can do it. So this is outside of the scale for this. I have another Dynamometric torque wrench. It's a bit different. It's like low-tech stuff. So watch this display right here, okay? This is up to 150 pounds. $100, $120, $140 pounds. I can do it. What's going on? Shit. Outside of the scale, right? 150. So let's run the timer. Since I can break it down in by pressing it, everyone will see how long time it takes to actually break that. 150 pounds. You know, people, I weigh only 170 pounds, so how much pressure I can generate, right? Right now I'm pushing, I guess, around 140. Let's see one more thing here. This tank right now is at 270 Celsius, right? No motor oil works ever at this kind of temperature in any mechanism. It's smoking. So, okay. Okay. I'm gonna pass at this point in time. Now, I would like to see what's going on in here. Current temperature of that 260 Fahrenheit, which is 127 Celsius. Normal temperature of operating temperature of a car engine is 80 Celsius, which will be around 170 or 77 Fahrenheit. Now, so oil became darker because of the heat exhaustion, but I won't ever want to look at this. I'm not gonna spin it on purpose. Check this ball out. Let me aim for it. It's right here. How does it look? Anybody can see any damage? Because I can't myself. What's going on, right? What happened here? So guys, everybody, you want to trust your guns to the CLP or other stuff, but specifically CLP, because I'm calling for it because it was proven garbage by US military, and I will post a link underneath in the description of that video so you can see what kind of garbage CLP actually is versus that stuff. You want a good running engine, perfectly operating firearm, this is your friend. It doesn't cost that much, but you see what it does, and you can't deny it. Nobody can deny it. This is all no brakes.